As much as I love AI, there are some gaps that can only be filled by human ingenuity. After you're done making an article, let's say using ChatGPT or Claude, the task is far from over. There are some elements that you better have in your article. And I'm not talking about adding an FAQ section or bullet points or tables in your article. Those are great, but those are something that can be infused directly into the prompt. So technically, you don't have to do anything after you create the article using AI. Instead, I'm going to show you some key elements that you should have in your article. These elements are so important that if you don't have them, then all those work, all those prompting doesn't really matter. So let's start with item number 1. Let's start with something that is quite obvious, but a lot of people seem to forget, which is creating authentic images. Now, if you're using third-party services to generate AI articles, a lot of them actually offer another subservice that let you create an AI image based on your content. And most of the time, they are using models like DALL-E 3 or Stable Diffusion because they are very much affordable. But the problem with these models is that they are not very good when it comes to generating high-quality image. It really depends on the quality of the prompt, and in most cases, it's only good for illustration. So if you need something that is a bit more technical or specific, you better have your own image. Let's say you're running a travel guide and you want to cover a country, let's say Vietnam. So you create an article about travel guide to Vietnam. Technically, you could just generate an AI image to showcase the landscape of Vietnam. But the problem is the image is not going to be very detailed and the image is not going to feel authentic. If you have been staring at AI photos a lot, you probably have noticed that there are some limitations. For example, the human limbs, especially fingers, are not going to be shown properly, and it also cannot show text or numbers. If you have seen a lot of AI images, then you might notice that the skin color or the skin texture is not very human at all. It's almost like plasticky. It is almost like it came from Pixar movie. So it's not a really human skin. Instead, I highly recommend to just use your own image. If you have been visited the country, you have visited Vietnam, then you want to put your picture in your article. The picture may have lower resolution or lower quality, or maybe you're not happy with the way you look in that photo. But that photo is significantly better than just using an AI generated image. It will provide value to your article, and it also make your article more trustworthy. This is also true if your website is talking about software, maybe like Photoshop or Filmora. You want to show a real screenshot because AI image just cannot generate a screenshot. It is something that can only be done by a real human. But let's say you still insist to use AI for illustration or decoration, which honestly, I'm still using it. Then you have to be careful with the prompting, and also you want to select the best model. Right now, I'm trying to avoid DALL-E 3 and Stable Diffusion because the quality of the images that they produce is not up to my standard. Instead, I highly recommend to just use Midjourney, which is a paid service, or you can also use something like Flux AI. Flux AI is open source just like Stable Diffusion, so technically you could just download the model and then run it to your computer. Granted that you need a high performance computer to run the model, but at least there are some websites that allow you to run the model for free a few times a day. One of them is huggingface.com. You could just go to the website and then find Flux AI, and then you could generate some images for your article for free. But if you need a larger quantity of images, then you could rent a dedicated hardware for it. The key takeaway of this item is basically just use your authentic picture. Even though it might be lower quality, it is better than AI image. And if you insist to use AI images, then I highly recommend to just use Midjourney or Flux AI to get higher quality results. So that's the point number 1. Let's move on. Alright, I'm going to be quick with this one. Basically, you have to insert internal and external links into your article. Now, depending on what AI you're using, there could be some browsing capability that allows the AI to crawl the internet, and then it could, in theory, put some relevant links into your article. But even that, I still encourage you to just double check everything, because sometimes the AI might not giving you the correct link. It could just give you random link that doesn't exist, or it just made up some links from other websites. That is the problem with hallucination in AI models, so you have to be careful with that. And in the case of internal links, sometimes there are some internal links that I wish to be there, but the AI is not smart enough to detect that. It's not considering the pages to be relevant to be inserted into the article. In a lot of cases, I have to manually link those pages into my article, and that is perfectly alright because it is something that can only be done by a human. One example is Kinsta. If you visit their blog, their article usually have a lot of internal links, and those links are, I believe, they made it manually. They intentionally put those links based on any given context, and it just makes the article look richer, and also it helps your visitor to navigate to other pages in your website. And of course, it will also improve dwell time, which is also an SEO ranking factor. And the best part of this element is that it is easy. You just need to spend 1 or 2 minutes to add some relevant external and internal links into your article. So make sure to always do that. Alright, let's start with a hypothetical scenario. Let's say you're running a travel guide website and you are someone that has been visiting a lot of countries, and one of them was France. So you want to talk about the capital, Paris. But instead of praising the city or encouraging people to come to the country, you are actually doing the opposite. You're trying to share your experience when you visited Paris, and you probably feel like Paris was disappointing. It doesn't look as good as it might be depicted in movies or photos. The city might be overcrowded, or the amenities wasn't very good, or it's very expensive, or maybe it wasn't smell good. So basically, there are some negative things that you could say about the city, and especially this is quite a bold opinion, especially if it is being presented to someone that has an interest to visit Paris. So in that article, you might be recommending other cities to visit in France. Of course, you could say a lot of things about your experience, but at the end of the day, it is your own experience and everyone else could be different. And here's where a Twitter screenshot can come in handy. You could just go to Twitter and type a keyword like Paris was disappointing, Paris is stinky, or it wasn't so good. Then you could take a screenshot of any tweet that basically agrees with you, and then you can put that into your own article. This little screenshot will strengthen your argument. It will basically prove that you are not alone, and it will only make your article more trustworthy, and people might put your opinion in higher regard. So this is the power of having an opinion, or social proof basically, that could be displayed in your article. And this also works as a testimonial. If you are selling a product or service and you want to let other people know that there are some people satisfied with your product or service, then if they post something in their Twitter account or social media account, you could just display that in your article and it will make you even more credible. And if you have the option to do this, then you should do it. The next thing that you should add is your own opinion, suggestion, jokes, and even memes. Perhaps the last two are the best in my opinion. A lot of AI companies are safeguarding their AI to prevent it from making any content that could be harmful or offensive to some people. And many of this content fall into the category of jokes. And we human jokes a lot of time, and sometimes we're just making fun of something or even someone. But if done correctly, it is usually okay, and we don't have to worry about accidentally offending someone. In fact, there are some comedies that literally just roasting the audience, and that is okay because it was the purpose of a joke. However, AI companies like OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, or Meta, they are very sensitive about making fun of other people or a group of people. So the AI cannot produce any joke at all, which is okay in my opinion. I think that is probably the best thing they can do. However, if you want to make your article to be more relatable, infusing some jokes or even memes to your article is the best way to do it. Let's use the previous example about Paris being disappointing. There are so many memes about it, and it is becoming a common culture to just trash talk about the city. In my opinion, it's kind of okay because people do aware, especially the people that actually live in the city, kind of aware that the city has some problems. In a way, memes are going to make your article more realistic, more relatable, and also it will improve the engagement of your content. So that is one benefit of putting a meme into your article. Okay, I want you to see something. These two are exactly the same article, the same wording, same everything. But which one do you think you want to read the most? This one or this one? Well, it is safe to say that most people prefer to read the second article than the first one, even though they are essentially displaying the same information. But the second article has been decorated to make it look prettier and more scannable. And it is very important because most people, when it comes to online article, is not reading the content. They're just scanning. When they see something pop out or something interesting, then they will stop and read the content. This is why you should decorate your content. It makes your content more scannable. It makes people stay. And from what we know, Google can actually tell the difference between low effort content versus high effort content, and high effort content is going to be valued more. If you are using WordPress, then the Gutenberg editor is really your friend because this editor allows you to decorate your article. You could add some background color, you could add some shadow, you could basically make your content almost look like an infographic. It is amazing that we have this text editor that actually acts like a website designer. And I have shared some usable tips to use this editor. So if you want to know more about this editor and you want to make your content look better, then check out this video and I'll see you there.